What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Locked Up 365. Today I got a good show for y'all. I'm going to be going over some of the worst judges in history. Now, these judges are put in place. If you catch a charge, your life is in their hands. They have all the power to let you go, give you a 1-year sentence or a 20-year sentence, or give you life in prison, the death penalty. So these judges have a very high position. Just like with anything, there is always corruption, whether it's in the police force, whether it's in the Senate, the president, whatever. There's always some type of corruption somewhere because the dollar always talks. It don't have anything to do with the actual police itself or the Senate itself. It's on the individual. Now, the individual, if they are greedy and they want more money than what they make, then they will take bribes and everything else, and that's how the corruption starts. Alright, we're going to kick this thing off. If y'all see me looking down, it's because I'm going to be reading off my notes. I don't want to give y'all inaccurate information. The first story is coming out of South Florida, September 19th, 2019. There was a college student. He was selected for jury duty. He went in. They did select him to be a juror. The next day, on September 19th, he overslept. They held the court up for 45 minutes, waiting on him to show up. When he was late, didn't show up, the judge actually sentenced him. This guy was 21 years old with no criminal record. He was a college student. He overslept 45 minutes. The judge sentenced him to 10 days in jail, 150 hours community service, 1 year probation, $223 in fines, and he had to write an apology letter. Now, the senator at the time, Powell, he did try to get the judge removed, but they would not remove the judge. Now, I believe the only reason why Senator Powell at the time even went to the Supreme Court was because he knew the kid and the kid's family. So they had some type of relationship. He was probably trying to do the family a favor and get that off of his record. But they sided with the judge and let it go. Alright, so the next one I'm going to be talking about is Judge Les Hayes from Alabama. He sentenced a woman to 496 days behind bars for failing to pay traffic tickets. Now, the 496 days was so stiff that it exceeded the jail time for negligent homicide. So if you got negligent homicide, you wouldn't get 496 days in jail. But that's what he gave her for a traffic ticket. Now, Marquita Johnson was incarcerated in 2012 for the traffic ticket. She says that even to this day, for as long as her and her kids will live, this will follow them, because when she got arrested, she was a single mother that was barely making it. She barely had enough money to pay rent and put food on the table. They were having to skip meals because she didn't have enough money being a single mother. So when they arrested her and put her in jail for 496 days, her 3 kids went to foster care. One of them kids ended up getting molested. The other kid was physically abused. This is all on court record, that this happened to these kids over her being in jail under traffic tickets. Now, this judge did end up getting charges put on him because he was breaking state and federal law by locking people up that were too poor to pay traffic tickets. But they did not bar him. He should have been barred, but they didn't do that. What they did was they suspended him for 11 months without pay. That is all he got. He ended up returning to the bench, and he retired after 20 years of service on the bench, even though he should have been taken out a long time ago. So even when somebody does step up and say something about stuff like this happening, the Senate or whoever it goes through, they give so much leniency because it's a judge. A judge is a person just like anybody else. But if I do something and a judge does it, that judge is going to walk scot-free versus they're going to put me underneath the jail. Alright, so the next one we're going to be talking about is out of Pennsylvania. He sent thousands of kids to a local detention center. He sent a kid there for talking back to his teacher on MySpace. He collected over $1 million for these kids, sending them to the detention center. He got busted, and he was sentenced to 27 years in prison. Nearly 4,000 cases were overturned. So what he was doing, he had a deal with the detention center. They would give him so much money for each kid that he sent there, because they got money from the state for each kid being there. So they were giving him a cut. Every kid that seen this judge was only in his courtroom for 2 minutes. Luckily, they caught on, figured out what he was doing, and he got what he deserves, 27 years in prison. Alright, so one of the most famous judges on my list is Thomas J. Maloney. He was a judge in Cook County, Illinois. This is around the time that the mob and everything was going on, and he was actually taking bribes from the mob to let their members walk on like murder, arson. He was letting all these people walk. He collected over $100,000 worth of bribes, which at that time was pretty big money. Now, Maloney was rounded up along with other judges at the time. Maloney is labeled one of the worst judges in America's history because he let everything slide, taking money. He's just the worst of the worst. Alright, so the next one we're going to be talking about comes out of Lake County, Ohio. The judge's name is Michael Ciccinetti, or Ciccinetti, one of the two. He is known for having like some bizarre sentencing, and one woman was in his courtroom for abandoning 35 kittens in the woods. So instead of like a jail sentence, he offered her a jail sentence. He said, do you want a jail sentence? Or do you want to spend the night out in the woods listening to the coyotes howl, wondering if they're going to come and kill you? Because that's what the kittens went through. So what do you want? Do you want to spend the night out in the middle of the park, woods, or do you want to go to jail? She chose to go in the woods instead of getting that put on her record and spending time in jail. She went out to the woods. Now, he did send cops to escort her, so the cops had to stand there. So it's really not the same thing, but he does weird stuff like that. So he only does this with first-time offenders, but there was a guy that shot his dog in the head. Now, instead of taking jail time, he offered the guy to wear a dog suit for 20 days, and he had to teach kids about traffic safety and not to use drugs. Where does that even make sense in your head? This man just shot his dog in the head and killed it, and you're going to make him wear a dog costume and talk to kids about drugs and traffic. That's all I got on this video. If anybody wants to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, or if you would like to donate to Locked Up 365, I'm going to leave the links in the description below. Thanks for watching Locked Up 365.